Good day, everyone. This is Knox Henderson, Investor Relations for StrikePoint Gold. And with me today is StrikePoint CEO and Director Mike Allen. How are you
Hey,
today, Mike?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. I think we're on to our second batch of drill results, and we're pretty excited about that. So maybe just remind everybody where this is, and show us the results.
Okay, I mean, this is the slide that we're looking at here. This is the Hercules Gold Project. We're facing north. Dayton is over here. Reno is about an hour and a half to the northwest of us. This red blob here, this is the alteration and mineralization of the Hercules showing itself. You can actually see how, if you've got good eyes, how extensive that is. It moves quite a ways out further to the north. Cliffs showing is off to the left or west of us here, and then this bumpy knob right here, that's the lobe showing. And so we're going to talk today about holes 5, 6, and now lobes 7. Pardon me, it's actually down here in terms of the news that we're putting out today.
Right.
So moving to that, this is the program, and it was quite successful. We'd previously released up to hole 4, and we discussed that in an earlier video. But hole 5, 6, and 7 were actually quite interesting. I mean, getting right to the heart of the matter, hole 5, which is we call this the cliffs target. This knob here because it's just cliffs. It's quite steep. This is the southernmost hole that's ever been drilled from the eastern side, and it hit a nice big intercept. It was 117.35 meters of 0.45 grams per ton with 3.55 grams per ton silver. So that's sitting out in this area. Two things that are really important about it is we're starting we were targeting the curvilinear structures, that new interpretation that we made back in 2020, and we got a big, consistent, massive mineralization. 117 meters is a significant hit. That's probably somewhere around a 15 to 20-story building that you're looking at in terms of the length of the mineralization. Consistent, and it had a nice high-grade core to it. 12.19 meters at 2.17 grams. With 9.55 grams per ton silver. So this part of the cliff showing is that predictable, bulky, big mineralization that we're looking for. Hole 6 was actually also a very interesting hole. Again, this is the collar here, drilled off to the west, getting towards the southern extremes of the Hercules showing. And again, this hole hit 2 nice zones. Right from surface, it had a zone of 1.17 grams per ton over just over 10 meters. So right at surface, you can see the vein. It was a fairly easy target. But also further outboard, it had a big bulky zone of mineralization in its own right, 44 meters of 0.35 with a little bit of a high-grade sweetener in there. So it's showing that these systems here and here are looking to be strongly open to the south, and that's very important in terms of the expansion potential of the project. The other thing that I just want to point out to everybody, this image actually shows quite nicely the curve of the ring structures. If you sort of follow my cursor along, this is just picking out silicified ribs, height of land, and you can see it sort of has a bit of a curve to it.
Right, and that's caused by the volcanic caldera.
That's exactly it. It's they call it a ring structure or a flower structure. Imagine a rose opening up. So you can get an idea of that here, sort of curving along. It's a big thing. So when you get on the ground, you think that it's straight, but it's what's the Clint Eastwood movie, Trouble with the Curve or something like that. Baseball. And so that's sort of where you have to look at these things at a big scale. So you can imagine what's happening here on cliffs is that curve is going out this way. Very,
Mhm.
very large scale structure. That points to a couple of interesting things. There's a lack of drilling out in here. So there's a real interesting expansion potential in addition to what we're seeing to the south, but an expansion potential in the north of the cliff showing. The final hole of the program, hole 7, a couple of zones of interesting mineralization. It's testing that this geochem anomaly. This is the lobe showing that we were talking about earlier. There's some drilling into that, and there's a geochem big phytogeochemical sort of plant geochem um, anomaly out in this area, and they're showing that there is gold in here. Not as quite as splashy as what we were hoping for, but it shows that there is something going on out here in this flat spot under cover. So something that we need to figure out, but it is showing that there's some interesting grades out in that way. So overall, you look at the bulk of the program, all the holes return significant grade, near surface gold, bulky, consistent mineralization. These are the sorts of things that we're looking for starting to be able to put together things like resources and ounces and getting really into driving the forward with the project.
Yeah, it's nice to see that broad interval of over 100 meters and then to have those high grade centers at over, a gram, which is very high grade in Nevada for oxide gold.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the other part of it, this is now the exploration target model that we announced earlier this year. So this is all what was used to calculate these numbers, the block model. And the drilling is, so hole 5 is out in this area, south end of cliffs. Hole 6 is out in this area on the south end of Hercules, and hole 7 is in this sort of wide open zone in the middle. And you can really see the lack of drilling in the middle. If this ring structure comes through here, there's really nothing that has tested it. So there's really is some really interesting expansion potential, both in the abstract, in that, well, if you just extend this out, and then in the proof of, well, we've now got drill holes that are going to expand these things further to the south. Again, here's another look at it. You're looking at the exploration target to the north. So 7 is out in here, 5 is in this neck of the woods, and 6 is over here. And the model simply runs out of data. There isn't enough drilling. So, the question of expansion, yeah, we did expand it a little bit because we just pulled it further to the south. There's more data for the computers if we want to generate another pass of the model to pull this to the south and add a few more blocks. So it is expanding. We're definitely expanding the mineralized footprint. And then there again, all of this stuff in the middle is open. And there's also some indications that cliffs, there's more ring structures potentially going this way from this northeast into the middle here. So a lot of expansion potential for the project.
Well,
One last
certainly.
thing that I'd probably point out to people is, we're really, we've to this point on the project, we've been largely focused in on this part. That's where the exploration target is. There's a little bit down here at Sirens, but all this is a complicated, messy slide. But all we're looking at here is the signatures of the mineralization through magnetics, radiometrics, and resistivity, and saying where out else on the project is similar stuff. And there's about 45 additional targets that show similar characteristics to the known mineralization that we need to get out there and start working on. Pony Meadows is an important one. Here's two of the targets in the Pony Meadows area, and the box is sort of where we have a permit to work. This is called Como Comets. Again, geochemical, or pardon me, a target area and a permit to work. There's a lot of targets here, and we're barely scratching the surface on the project.
Yeah, certainly lots to look forward to. And, we absolutely, made the most of our 1,500-meter drill program. That's a lot of everything hit gold, and it hit it where we thought it was because the system's quite predictable now and it's expanding. So highly successful on all fronts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very pleased with the results. I think that it definitely warrants going back and taking another kick at this thing and moving it forward. I'd love to get into the south and start really opening up some of these targets on the southern part of the property.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks for that, Mike. And if anyone has any other questions, they could contact me. My contact information is there. And yeah, have a great day.
Thank you very much, everybody.